Hey, welcome along to the Imperfectly Perfect Community Podcast. Your voice matters too. My name is Rach, and today I'm joined with the beautiful Claire, all the way from the UK. So, Claire, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm Claire, based in Swansea, South Wales, right down in the bottom end of the UK on the coast. I've been here for 33 years. I was born near London, so I am English born, but yeah, living in Wales currently. So love it down here, love it. Thanks for having me on the show today.
It's brilliant. Thanks for sharing your story with us. I'm keen to get into it. It's always great when I hear those accents from back home. Growing up in the UK myself, it's lovely to hear those accents and then just pick whereabouts they're from. So it was great to actually meet you through the Imperfectly Perfect campaign. I think, was it over the last 2 years, a couple of years ago, maybe?
Yeah, the first one was when yourself and I think Matt Thraxton did an event just talking about initially what the campaign was all about, because I think it was just starting to get going back then. That was the first ever event I think I attended, and that was nearly 3 years, I think.
Wow.
It's gotta be that now.
Yeah. Wow. And here we are in 2022 with the community podcast talking about you. All right, let's get stuck into it. So today we're going to be sharing Claire's story. So I'm going to throw it to you, Claire, if you'd like to walk us through your journey.
Thank you. So really it goes back probably, I'd say, about 10 years initially. So it first sort of started, I was going through a bit of a rough patch with work and a few other things, and I needed something to kind of get me out of a bit of a rut, should we say. This is just a little bit of a backstory so you get where it goes to, obviously. So I started running with my work. They started a running club, lunchtimes, and I hate running, I have to be honest, I hated
it. Same.
But I started running just as a sort of a release, I suppose, as a bit of exercise, get the endorphins flowing, etc. And we came to like a little country path, I suppose. And you probably know from yourself, Kate, in between the fields, you've got like these old wooden stiles that you step over. So a few people jumped over them. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just follow their lead. I did. Next day I was bent double. Literally, I tore all the ligaments between my sacroiliac joint and my spine. So where the pelvis joins the spine, I tore those ligaments somehow. So This is just the start of it, obviously. So it took a bit of recovery. For 3 years, I was regular chiropractor appointments. Just every 3 months, I had to be like reset almost because my joint used to lock up. And that's sort of the backstory to where we're going. So I was, back pain is not fun either.
No, not nice.
So for 3 years,
painful.
Yeah. So 3 years going through that. I went to London for the weekend, was having a great time. I'd been there 3 days. I lifted a suitcase to come down the stairs and I had a twinge and it went again. I thought, oh, that's not like the normal pain I experienced though. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, it's just that, playing up. I'll see my chiropractor when I go home. So I go home, see my chiropractor. She's like, yep, we'll just reset you. Away you go. And then 3 days later, I phoned her up again. I said, it's not right. There's something going wrong here. Like I said, it doesn't feel good. So she got me back in. She was like, I'm not touching you. Not touching you. I was like, why? She's like, you've got a bulging disc in your back. And if I touch you right now, that might just be the final straw type thing. I was like, oh, right. So she said, rest, see your doctor, get a scan, whatever you got to do, but just get seen. I was like, okay. That was like the Friday afternoon. I think then on the Wednesday, I went into work and I had this excruciating pain down my leg. And I thought, there's something going wrong again. Yeah, and your gut instinct's telling you there's something not right, but you can't put your finger on it. So I was like, okay, I'll phone my chiropractor again. She was like, no, go to A&E. There's something going on. I was like, oh, right, okay. So off I went. And they were like, well, have you got any numbness, any of that? I was like, no, just this excruciating pain down my left leg. They were like, well, okay, no worries. But if it gets any worse, come back to us. So off I went with pain relief. And I know. But that's the way it is, unfortunately. There's just so much demand on the system it's awful to say. It's like it gets to a point where prevention doesn't happen anymore. It's kind of like only when they need to do things, they will do it, because that's the way it works, unfortunately. I'm not having a pop, I'm just saying that the demand just makes it that way. So yeah, I go home. I collapsed that evening downstairs, walking downstairs to the toilet. My legs just went straight from under me, and I didn't know what was happening. I was like, okay, right. I can't get up off the floor. I couldn't shout loud enough for my parents, who happened to be upstairs. I could not shout loud enough. Nobody heard me. So I eventually I stayed there for probably 2 hours until the pain subsided a bit, until I could actually roll myself over and get up off the floor. I was in panic mode at this point, because I don't know what's going on. So yeah, the next day I kind of slept it off, really. I was just exhausted from the pain. I had pain relief, went to bed. 3 hours later, I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's just excruciating. Went to get up out of bed, bam, straight down I went again. My legs just completely gave way, gone, absolutely gone. And I also realized that I'd actually had incontinence problems as well, because of the nerves being affected. I hate talking about this part, but yeah, it's just,
yeah, but that's real. I mean, it's adults, are supposed to have it together, but when your body lets you down, your body lets you down. Like, there's not much you can do.
It was just like, what's happening? But my gut was telling me, like this is not what I've previously had. This is something this is big. So I phoned my doctor. They were like, well, you're in for an MRI scan. We can't do much more. Have you got any numbness down your legs? I was like, look, I've just literally had this happen. I've had my legs give way. I've been totally incontinent. I've got no feeling in the back of my legs. I was like, I don't know what's going on. They were like, right, okay, 999 it. Straight in I went. Literally within an hour, they were here and they'd taken me in, like gone. So yeah, I get in there, and morphine, I have never wanted so much in my life. And I know that's probably not a great thing to say, but I needed some sort of relief at that point. I was in such agony. The gas and air wasn't touching it at all. The morphine was the only thing that would help at that point, which is just, yeah, it's a potent drug, but I needed it. And my memory after having 2 lots of it was a little bit sketchy. But I do remember being put on the MRI table, so on the table itself, to go into the scanner. I'd had the scan, and I'd even heard it say, scan is done. And I was there for 20 minutes. I was like, why am I still on this table? You know, you're thinking like, surely the scan's done, get out and go. So I get off the table, and then eventually, and they took me downstairs, and I was like, all right, what's going on? I said, because I was on that table 20 minutes. They were like, look, you've had a massive herniation in your back. It's literally just crushed all the nerves right at the bottom of your spine. I'll show you a picture in a sec, actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but at the bottom of your spine, literally where they call it the horse's tail, I think you might know. So it all comes out of the bottom of the pelvis and goes down towards your legs. All that bit there had been completely cut off. Blood flow, everything, like literally everything. Let me try and find you the picture so you can see what I mean, because it's just mental. It still makes me wonder how I got up that night when I collapsed. So I don't know whether you can see there. Right, so that part here is, so that white bit is my spinal cord, all being crushed by the disc. And then that bit there, where that black is, in that bottom, that's literally where the blood flow should be. So it not quite severed, luckily, but majorly crushed. So they were like, you literally got to go up to Cardiff University, like right now, into the hospital and straight in. If we're not operated on within the next, I think they said it was like 24 hours, you will be paralyzed, completely paralyzed. I was like, oh, right, okay. But then when I did tell them that I'd been obviously to the hospital the night before, they were like, oh, so it's already been 24 hours then? I was like, yeah, it's been like 36 hours. They were like, right, okay, we'll get you up there ASAP. And they were like, we're just waiting for a bed. And it was literally between me and a lady in the bed next door who had a brain tumor. And I was like, well, surely she should go first. But they were like, nah, if we don't save you from this now, she can have her operation in the morning and have the same outcome. If you have your operation in the morning, it will be totally different. I was like, oh, right, okay. Had no clue what was going on. It was horrendous, honestly. But yeah, so that's why I said the backstory about the little injury first, because I think it kind of built up to this, but it took a good sort of 3-4 years to really get to that point. But yeah, so that is the main basis of it. And I had the operation at like 3 a.m. And then they came to me and said, do you know what happened? I was like, no, not really. Not a clue. And they were like, you just had like a rare condition called quadriquina syndrome, where the massive herniation has literally just severed most of that nerve apart from that tiny, tiny little bit. It's 1 in every 100,000 people in the UK that suffer with it. So I had to be one of the 100,000, of course. But yeah, and I was just like, wow, what does that mean? So like, I've been left with permanent nerve damage in my back, in my legs, continence wise, that's all still there. And at 29 years of age, didn't know what to do with it. Honestly, it was just so life-changing. Everything just hit me like a ton of bricks. It really was, major trauma to deal with. Physically, of course, you can get over physical once you've had the operation, but the mental barriers were unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Talk about that, Claire. So physiologically, you are literally in a body that you don't recognize. It's not behaving to your command. It's letting you down.
Yeah.
So how does that mentally affect a person?
Oh, for the first probably 3 months after, I didn't want to get up out of bed. I didn't want to speak to people. Like, people from work were like, are you okay? Let's come and visit you. I was like, no, I don't want to see anyone. I was just like, how do you deal with this? Like, it's a big, big life-changing thing. It really put me in a dark place for quite some time. I will say, like, really dark. It was just like, I don't want to do this ever. This is not nice. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like your body, like you said, you don't want to accept as well that your body's not capable, because our body's always been capable of doing what we wanted it to do before that. And then all of a sudden my head is saying yes, but my body's like, nope, no chance. So yeah, it kind of makes you feel at first like, why has this even happened? Like, to you at 29 years old, like, what? Like, I know it sounds so like crazy, but like, yeah, 29, you're going, why has this happened to me? What have I done to deserve this? All this sort of thing goes through your head, it really does. It really does.
That's so hard to look around, because people externally want to come and be with you because they're scared for you. They're suffering internally, imagining what you're going through. So they want to be there with you, but you don't want them because you physically can't handle yourself. How are you mentally supposed to entertain people and take care of their needs so that they feel okay, because they feel bad for you? You don't, you feel bad for you. You don't even want, to be with you at the time, because you don't know how to talk to yourself. And what kind of support did you have around you from a specialist, or was there any mental health support to help you deal with what you were going through? No,
nothing. There was no support groups whatsoever. And I find there's support groups for a lot of things nowadays, but even now I find that a lot of people don't have a clue what this condition even is, let alone how you get support for it. Because you can go through like Spinal Injuries Association, things like that, but then generally that is people who are in wheelchairs and things like that. So like, I didn't quite get to that stage. However, you've still got the nerve damage there, and it's kind of one of those things that you don't find many people have come across it, because it is quite rare. So yeah, the support just generally from family, really. I had my mum and dad here, but I mean, without them, where I'd be.
Yeah, and the isolation of feeling. See, I don't know about you, but in my experience of talking to people with mental health, often there's this sense of like you said, why me? What did I do? Nobody else, just me. This is a me thing. This is nobody else. That you needed somebody to say, hey, I've been there. I actually have this, try this, do that. We call doctors, we call dentists, we call chiropractors, we call physios when we're in pain. We make a call, it's like, help, fix me. Or you take a paracetamol, or you take an ibuprofen, or pain relief in some respect. But for the mental pain and the suffering of the what now kind of why me, what now? Having somebody to talk to about that would have been quite powerful to ease the suffering. That the symptoms of your physical pain were mental, weren't they? You know, you were suffering in your head, lost and isolated and lonely. Like, what did that do? Obviously, you've come through to a degree. You know, we're not exactly there anymore. However, what is the fallout from that mentally? How has it helped you discover? And what tools have you got that you could share with people that to help somebody that may be listening to this going, oh my gosh, there's so much of this I can relate to? What could you share with them?
Of course. Well, my main thing, it was physiotherapy at first, was the main support I had, which is obviously physical. So they sent me for like hydrotherapy, that sort of stuff. So through the pool, where obviously you're weightless, so it's a lot easier. And my advice was then to go back to like a training program in the gym, explain to, the personal trainer that you needed mainly core exercises initially to strengthen that. So your back obviously was weak, you needed to strengthen core to help. So I went back to the gym. I had some absolutely amazing people there that like literally were like injury specialists, so they knew their stuff, you know, they really knew where to go, which was quite handy. Me never being in the gym much, never think that now obviously, but but never been in the gym much back then. I didn't know these people were there, obviously, so it was really refreshing to have somebody who sort of understood, not maybe the condition itself, but they knew how to help people with spinal injuries, which was really great. So that really started to help. And then from that point on, I just continued to go to like group exercise classes was the next thing I went up to, which was body pump. Started with body pump, as we all seem to. And it just strengthened obviously my physical, but the mental impact was just unbelievable. Getting those endorphins flowing and, you know, forgetting about everything for that 1 hour of my life was amazing. That was a really good tool for me personally. Is you don't obviously have to go to body pump or whatever, but just get out there and do something like walking, cycling, go and have a swim, anything that you can just not forget about it, but maybe help you to switch off for a little bit so that you can just get that, how would you call it, reflection time, I suppose, because it really does help you to realize, like, okay, you say, why me at first? What did I do to deserve this? It's like, what? Okay, don't think about it like that. Think, well, I can't really change what's happened, so how can I help myself going forward? The more you think about why me, the worse you feel. The more you think about how can I improve things, the better you feel. So that would be a big advice from me, is just what can you do to make even just 1 hour of your life better? And each day it gets better and better and better and better, and it just increases tenfold.
Wow. Yeah, like that's so powerful, because as you said, during the initial traumatic moment, you start thinking, I'm 29. What did I do? How did I? Obviously, you couldn't understand what had happened for this to happen, because, like, as the doctor said, what did you do? Everybody asks what, because what helps us trace back to the source of the trauma so that it's a more expedited diagnosis, I guess. But when you can't find that, and you can spend a lot of time searching for it, you're wasting time that you could be spending going, okay, well, what can I do to help me? I loved what you just said there about an hour of you where you could escape and have this reflection time and focus on something else other than the problem, and it gets better tenfold. Almost an hour a day, an hour at a time. Some people need a minute, 10 minutes at a time. They can take life to overcome the mental challenges that they're facing. And it's
totally,
it's really powerful, the acceptance, the power of acceptance, and then being able to say, What can I do? So where do people go? Where does somebody like you go? So you went to the gym because of the physio that was helping you. You then found yourself in a group exercise class. What was it about group exercise that gave you the endorphins that made you feel like you were escaping?
For me, it just was that whole feeling of the music, for one. Like, you just get into the music, you just start moving, and you feel good in yourself, and you think, oh, great, okay. The togetherness, there's people with you constantly right next to you. People used to look at me and go, wow, like, I never realized you'd gone through that. And it was like, well, I don't try and show it, but then I'm not ashamed of it either, if you get me. So, like, it's not something I put out there like constantly, oh yeah, I've had this going on, you know. But like, it's also quite interesting, like, if someone says, oh no, I can't really do this today because, like, I'm really hurting my back and this and that, and then I kind of try and help people that way by explaining what happened to me and how I dealt with it, and it just gives them that little bit of more, and that makes me feel great as well then, because I've helped somebody, hopefully, for 10 minutes just think, oh, actually, yeah, I'll give it a go, and even if it doesn't work today, it might work another time. So group exercise is not just for me personally or for other people, you know, as one person. It's for all of you to come together and just have that common goal of one, physical fitness, which we all want, but the mental fitness you get from group exercise on top is outstanding. It really is. It's made my life so much better, 100% better where I am now.
Music, it's everything, isn't it? You just put it on, you put a playlist on, changes your day, changes your mood, changes your vibe, changes your thinking, interrupts your thinking, I guess. And I do wonder if artists, musicians, when they're penning songs and creating songs, if that's catharsis for them, if they're releasing part of their emotional moment into a song to offload it, so that it's out of them rather than living inside them, and people get to live vicariously expressing themselves through music.
Totally.
It definitely makes exercise easier as well, because it's kind of a distraction. You don't realize you're exercising if there's a good playlist. I love a good playlist. Like you say, running is just hard. It's either you love it or you hate it and you do it. It really is one of those hard things, but music definitely makes it easier. Your story is quite phenomenal, Claire. Your story is quite phenomenal. The overcoming of not knowing, of then knowing, and then beating yourself every day in a sense of not surrendering to your boundaries, but pushing them back so that you can do more, be more, and live more of your life. I think that's quite phenomenal.
And there's also these little voices in your head every day that say, oh, are you sure you should be doing that, you know, because of this? And it's like, you just got to keep battling that. Like, every day you've got to battle that, and it's really difficult. Like, in the back of your mind it's going, no, you shouldn't do this, but I'm going, damn you, I'm going to. You know, it's a hard thing, but it's taken me a good 6 years to really get from that point to here, you know, you know, group X has helped. I mean, there are more sort of awareness things out there now, like Spinal Injuries Association and Cauda equina syndrome. There is actually like an Instagram and a website now that's starting to build. So I think maybe the awareness is starting to kick off a little bit more. So if anybody ever obviously needs any support, they can direct themselves to that as well. But me personally, I just would say, for that 10 minutes or a minute, like you said, you know, just do something that is totally nothing to do with what is going on. Go and read a book, go and stand and look out the window and look at the mountains, go down by the river, just listen to the water. Anything and everything you can do that's not focusing on that really does get you through massively.
Huge. I love that. It's so simple as well. Just do anything other than focus on that. It's easier said than done, because sometimes when you're desperate to feel a different way, but your mind is addicted to replaying the trauma, searching for another outcome when it's already happened, it's already done. It's you can't find a different ending to something that's already happened. But having that ability to press override and go, I'm just going to watch the stream. I'm just going to watch the stream for 60 seconds. And I'm going to stop myself from thinking about anything other than what's happening under the surface of the water. Is that a fish I can see? Is that a rock I can see? How fast is this flowing? Wonder where this water came from. I wonder when the next rain showers. Anything but your pain. I've got to ask you a question, Claire, because we ask everybody, and it's all about the campaign. Yeah. Of course, I was like, when's my turn? What does imperfectly perfect mean to Claire?
I have thought about this a lot, and I kind of was like, oh, I hope it doesn't come out in a garbled mess. But it's it's just for me personally, it's the bad and the good all working together. I've had the bad elements and the good elements working together at times. Like the nerve damage is there, I can't change that. But if I try and use what I've learned over the past sort of 6 years to get where I am, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be this person. So in some ways, you've kind of got to accept all parts of you are meant to be the way they are. That is, my biggest thing. All parts of you are meant to be the way they are. Whether that is good or bad, we're all going to have little demons, voices in our head, maybe telling us one thing and not, what we want, maybe. But yeah, for me personally, imperfectly perfect is accepting that all parts of you are meant to be the way they are, and that is why you are the person you are today.
Powerful. I love letting the good and the bad work together as it's meant to be who you are, and not becoming a victim, I guess, not seeing yourself as not good enough because you're not perfect in some way. Like everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
We're not, are we?
We've all got flaws.
Perfect.
Yeah. We've all got flaws. Every one of us. Whether we like to admit it or not, we've all got flaws. But yeah, that's just the way we are. We're human at the end of the day. So yeah.
And humans aren't perfect. Humans, the sense of perfectionism really interests me. I'm very curious around this level of perfectionism and how have we succumb as a society to this expectation of perfectionism, because we know that it makes us feel bad, yet we still uphold it as a winning thing. Somebody that is perfect is winning, and yet it almost, it rips us apart in the process to try and become perfect. That when you arrive and you realize you can't be perfect, there is no perfect. And I am curious to see how this rolls out over the next 100 years when I'm no longer here, or I'm somewhere out in the ether as a soul floating around going, wow, that's interesting. I love your journey. I love the way that you have found this ability to be so encouraging of others because of who you are and how you've accepted what is happening in your journey and how it's making you this wonderful person that you wouldn't have been had you not experienced things that you've gone through, which are uber painful. They have made you this beautiful soul, and your contribution to society because of that is powerful. I hope listeners at home that are listening to this can reach out to you if they want to and share their story with you, and possibly find comfort in knowing that they're not alone in their pain. Is there a way that people can reach you on social? Do you have a social page or something?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I think it's like _Claire_Gibbons, something like that. And I'm on Facebook as well. I think I'm the only Claire Tina Gibbons in the South Wales on there, so that should be easy to find that way. But yeah, I'm on both. Obviously, I'm on the IPC platform itself. So if there's anybody that's listening today that's on the platform, obviously they can reach out to me through that as well.
Amazing. I see you're wearing the t-shirt as well. I love it in black. I've got the white one. I love the black. Yep. That's cool.
I bought myself one. I bought Andy one for his birthday as well, and he's chuffed. So yeah, they're really comfy.
Aren't they soft cotton? It's so comfortable. Often you think with merchandise it's going to be, you know, a little bit bargain basement, but it is not. It's the opposite. I've got the hoodie. It's one of my favorite hoodies to wear. Super soft and comfy.
Well,
Very nice. Yeah. Well, you're coming in
Oh.
summer. You don't need it. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing
No,
your journey
true.
with us. I look forward to hanging out with you on the IPC. And if anybody listening to this wants to be part of the IPC community podcast, then submit your story on the link.